All right, so with all that ruckus, I forgot to tell you how that whole thing uh, came about. My hat looks ridiculous. There we go. Um, so my friend, who I've known since fourth grade, um, he he's got a niece, and the last time I heard anything about this girl, she was a little girl. She was a toddler. She was being babysat by his mom. Um, all the time back when I was on Facebook. She'd post little stories about that. So anyway, he said, "Oh, remember so-and-so?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "How's she doing? How's your brother doing?" He's like, "Look at this picture." He pulls up this picture on whatever social media he was on. And he's like, "She just learned how to drive. She is 16. And we both felt like old men. I was like, I can't believe that. And he said, "You want to see something worse?" I was like, okay. And he scrolls down, and she's in a car with a bunch of her friends from the same grade in whatever grade she's in high school. And I just kind of was like, and he started laughing, and he's like, "They look like a bunch of little girls, don't they?" I said, "I don't understand." And he made the comment that my boys, who are much younger than that, look way older than they do. And I was like, yeah. And I was thinking in my head, man, my boys, compared to these kids, my boys look like 80s action stars. So that's what brought all that up. Now, I had the thought to tell you, so now we're switching over to some advice for parents to give their version of to their kids, or, you know, if you dare to show them this directly. You know, the folks out in the world, they'll before they get real serious with somebody, they'll go get tests done to see if they've got any sort of sexually transmitted diseases, and which now they call sexually transmitted infections, so it doesn't sound so bad. But some of them don't go away, and they get tested for this. And they do this because the consequences are so great, right? You don't want to get herpes for life or whatever. So I would say if I were chatting to a young lady, I'd say, look, as serious as that is, I mean, sure, that's going to mess up your life, but I'll tell you something that's going to mess up your life a lot too is getting with a guy permanently who has low testosterone. It'll really, 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 really mess up your life. So first and foremost, you got the fertility issues, because if you don't have kids, you're kind of locked out of a huge chunk of what your life's meant to be as a woman. Second, and again, I've talked about this before. You do your own research on this, but talk to some men about this. Talk to older men, like full-on gray hair older men who are you know, your grandfathers and your great grandfathers, older men, and ask them what difference this makes in life as they get older. How do things change? Because like I said in an earlier video, something like the exact ages are going to probably be off here, but 21-year-old men have the same testosterone as 62-year-old men today. And if you don't know, I mean, that starts going down around 33 or so, and it's a plus or minus, and it's a slow drop off. So if you imagine that arc, and you can look it up, you don't have to imagine it, but I mean, why would you jump? Like, would you date a 62-year-old man? That's my question, right? So it's so important that if there were no outward signs of this, I think like wise young ladies would actually make their potential partners get a blood test to see what their testosterone levels are. It actually wouldn't be super effective because there's no standard test, and the relative decline over time is more important than the absolute value, but whatever. The good news is you don't need to do that because the outward signs are really freaking obvious. You can see them from 10 miles away. You could be Mr. Magoo and see this from 10 miles away. Of course, if you're a young lady, you have no idea who I'm talking about. So your parents can translate this. But, you know, like, I'm on a ladder like a bajillion feet off the ground right now. It's early. It's really early. I didn't get any sleep last night. I happened to wake up at 11. That's last night, not this morning. And what I do when I got up, I do the same thing I do every morning. I just spent more time doing it. Namely, spiritual stuff, scriptural stuff, writing. And I worked out too. I didn't take the day off from that. And now I am getting up here. I'm on a roof, a really steep roof, my roof, doing a painting project, okay? Why am I painting up here? I'm painting up here because my wife and kids are in charge of the lower level, and I'm helping out. I oversee that, and then I help them out. But I'm in charge of the upper level because I'm the one that has to get things done that no one else can do, no one else wants to do, because that's what a husband and a father, that's what a man does. So I didn't want to get up here. I've got like a little scaffold set up. I shouldn't even show you this. It's probably illegal. So we could call OSHA on me. But, you know, it's trepidatious and whatever, but it's got to be done, right? And guess what? After this, you see the sun's rising. It's early. After this, I'm going to work for 8 hours, right? So at the company that I started, right? Because that's what men do. So, and if you want to know specifically why I'm up here, it's because I made a couple mistakes and I have to fix them before I move on, because men do that too. But we own our mistakes and we fix them as best we can. If you marry a soy boy, you're not going to have a guy who's painting your house. You're not even going to have a guy who knows how to fix your sink or unclog your toilets. And you're going to have to pay for all of that to be done. Now, what difference does that make? Well, the quote I got on my house here was at least $10,000. So $10,000 is a lot of money, right? And that's a vacation and a half for a large family. A really sweet, nice vacation, all-inclusive Mexico vacation. So I'm going to bust my butt and maybe fall off my roof so that I can take my family, who will appreciate that about 100 times more than I do, to Mexico, right? Because that's more important to me. I'd rather, you know, conquer the heights here and risk this and wake up early and come up here and paint before I go to work each day till the project's done. You see? So this has an effect. And if you're paying people to fix stuff all the time, you're not going to be able to afford jack diddly squat. You're going to be working all the time and not having anything. You're living in an apartment for the rest of your life, or maybe you're in your parents' basement, and that's that. So it's not, that's, you know, these are not in any way the minimal consequences of this sort of thing. It's just a, hey, I'm here, I'm telling you this. The list could be much longer, but this stuff, it matters a lot. A lot. And so you need to think about it. So what are these outward signs? I've talked about this before, right? It's muscular build, it's facial hair, it's getting things done in life, it's taking on challenges, it's taking risks wisely. That's what people do who aren't on the low end of the T scale, right? So don't mess around with the soy boys. It's not worth the cost, and it's an enormous cost. So, but I mean, if you're a low quality woman, have at it. And that'll keep you out of the pool for the guys who deserve better. So, see ya.